Hey guys, my name is Veronica and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up. I didn't get to read as much as I wanted to in October, but I did read some really good books and I'm very happy with the books that I did read, so I'm going to tell you all about those now. The first book that I read in October, I actually started at the very end of September and then finished in October, and that is The Death Cure by James Dashner, and this is the third and final installment in the Maze Runner trilogy. I read the Maze Runner 2 years ago, and then I reread it in August, and then I read Scorch Trials in September, and then I finished this one up in October. And I think that it had a reasonably good ending. I am pretty satisfied with the ending. However, there are some events that happened that I will not directly mention that I'm upset about. If you have read this book, call me. Call me maybe, because it's so sad. I'm thinking about maybe doing a book talk on this book. The only thing that's holding me back is I don't know how many people have read this book. A lot of people have just read the first one and not continued the trilogy, but I would love to talk about this book with people because I have a lot of thoughts. But I really did enjoy this book and I gave it a 5 out of 5 star rating. The second book that I read in the month of October was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and Gone Girl is the reason that I didn't get to read a whole lot this month, and that's because it took me so long to read Gone Girl. The beginning of the book was so slow. It took me 2.5 weeks to read the first half of the book, and then it took me like 2 days to read the second half of the book. The beginning, it just, oh my gosh. But then once you get to that second half, the psychological aspect of the book starts to come in, and they were proposed in a pretty shocking manner. But I still don't think that it lived up to the hype that it received, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The third book that I read in the month of October is The Best of Me by Nicholas Sparks, and I also read this so that I could go see the movie after I finished it. This book, I will say, is not his best. Flat for me. I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of stuff, and I predicted the ending very early on. And so the stuff that was supposed to be kind of like, bah, was kind of like, The characters were very likable, and overall I did enjoy the story, and the ending was very bittersweet, but I actually really did like the ending. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy it. It just fell flat in comparison to some of his other books, and I also will say that I did prefer the movie. I thought the movie was better. The next book that I read, I pretty much didn't read, actually. I read this book at my summer camp over the summer in July, and then I came home and put it down and hadn't touched it. I only had like 2 chapters left in the book, and I just hadn't touched it. So I finished it this month. I read the final 2 chapters, and that is Crazy Love by Frances. Whether you've verbalized it yet or not, we all know something's wrong. Does something deep inside your heart long to break free from the status quo? Are you hungry for an authentic faith that addresses the problems of our world with tangible, even radical solutions? God is calling you to a passionate love relationship with Him, because the answer to religious complacency isn't working harder at a list of do's and don'ts. It's falling in love with God, and once you encounter His love, as Frances describes it, you will never be the same. Because when you're wildly in love with someone, it changes everything. And I read this book because I'm in a place in my Christian faith where I feel like the world has just become a list of do's and don'ts, and that it's all about rules and what we're supposed to be, and a lot of the time I don't match up with what we're supposed to be. I don't agree with Christians on a lot of points. I am a Christian. I don't agree with the typical Christian response to a lot of topics and stuff, and I'm not near as conservative. And so I was really interested in reading this and seeing it from a point of view of if we focus simply on our relationship with God. And so it had some very good points, and I enjoyed it. I don't want to go into a sermon about it because I understand that not all of you have the same faith that I do, and that's okay. But if you would like to talk to me about it, I would love to talk with you about it. And I hope that maybe one day I'll reread this because I may need a refresher. But yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The final book that I read in the month of October was for a book club that I'm in at school, and I kind of been slacking in book club, and I hadn't been reading the books I was supposed to be reading. But this one was recommended to me, Eleanor Park. So that is the book that I read. And my 3 things, if you were wondering, was I want my book to be quotable. I want it to be cutesy and romancy, but not like over the top, like sickening and like super unrealistic. And I also didn't want insta love because I really hate insta love. And Eleanor Park lived up to that, all 3 of those for me. It was a cute and correct love story. It wasn't over the top. Eleanor and Park fought. They had their differences. They had their problems, some of them major. And they also didn't have an insta love. Saddened by the ending. As for the characters, Park is perfect. I love Park. He's just really great. And Eleanor, I feel like I might be supposed to relate to Eleanor more, but she kind of got on my nerves a lot. She like complains more than she should. So that is all that I read in the month of October. If you have any ideas for videos that you would like me to do, please, 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 please comment those below and I will try to get onto them. I love you all so much and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!